Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge System and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, which is one of the premier institutions in India, and it offers examination coaching for UPSC, CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examination. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I take up international relations and internal security and the analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And this is the daily news analysis of the Hindu of today's, that is 15th of January 2021. And this session will be certainly helpful for you because I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the Hindu newspaper, wherein we can identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which will be useful for the preliminary of UPSC examination. And while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing for the mains examination, your answer for the mains would be precise and concise, and thereby you would score higher marks in the mains examination. So, this session at the AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis will help you to crack prelims and mains of 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we will focus at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day says that if you can dream it, you can do it. That means if you can dream your goal, if you can dream that what you wish to want, then you can get it, then you can do it. So dream and you will get it. And now we'll look into the analysis of the Hindu newspaper, and the news which would be focusing is the Supreme Court has ordered the states and the union territories, and this news is in regards to the reopening of the Anganwadis. So the Supreme Court has ordered the states and the union territories to the one who had not still opened the Anganwadi centers, which were closed because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and now the Supreme Court has ordered those states and union territories to open the Anganwadis which are outside the containment zone on or before January 31st, 2021. And the three-judge bench of the Supreme Court, which is led by Justice Ashok Bhushan, has directed the states and the union territories that they should open the Anganwadi centers as per the guidance note dated on November 11th, 2020, which is issued by the Government of India and the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So the Supreme Court has directed the states and the union territories who haven't still opened the Anganwadi centers as per the guidance note of dated back to November 11, 2020, issued by the Government of India, Ministry of Women and Child Development. So we would look at what is the importance of the Anganwadi centers, because when the Supreme Court has intervened and directed the states and union territories, it is that the states or the Supreme Court is directing the states and union territories to ensure the nutritional standards. This is the keyword which you need to focus for prelims as well as mains examination, that the nutritional standards are being provided by the states and union territories through the Anganwadi centers, and to ensure the nutritional standards by the center which is provided under the National Food Security Act 2013. So the keyword and the key phrase here is the nutritional standards, and as per the National Food Security Act 2013, focusing on the ensurement of the nutritional standards, the court has directed the states and union territories to open the Anganwadi centers, and the judgment has been directed because a petition was filed by the activist, that is Deepika Jagatram Sahani, who has called for an immediate reopening of the Anganwadi centers. And here it is because the immediate reopening of the Anganwadi centers is a statutory obligation. Here please look at it. The opening of the Anganwadi center is the statutory obligation of the center and the states. Why? To provide the nutritional support to whom? To the pregnant women, to the lactating mothers, and to provide nutritional support to children. So this is very important as we are focusing the analysis of the importance of the opening of the Anganwadi centers, which the Supreme Court has directed the states and union territories which haven't still opened the Anganwadi centers because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation. Because it is the states and union territories to ensure the nutritional standards which is provided by the center as per or under the National Food Security Act, and this nutritional support would be provided, which is a statutory obligation by the center and the states to the pregnant women, to the lactating mothers, and to the nutritional support to children. So this information or analysis can be directly taken as a short notes for the mains examination. And there is another news which is talking about the publication of notice of marriage. So here we are talking about the key phrase which is about the publication of notice of intended marriage under the Special Marriage Act 1947, and now the Allahabad High Court has said that it is not mandatory, and the Allahabad High Court has ruled that the provisions which are part of the publication of notice of intended marriage, which is under the Special Marriage Act 1954, is not mandatory. So as per the Allahabad High Court, it says that the provisions of the publication of notice of intended marriage under the Special Marriage Act 1954 is not mandatory. And the court, that is the Allahabad High Court, has given a significant judgment which it has delivered on January 12th, saying that or making such publication mandatory because the state wanted the publication of notice of intended marriage as mandatory, but the Allahabad High Court has said that it is not mandatory under Special Marriage Act 1954, because it says if the publication of notice is made mandatory, then it would invade the fundamental rights of liberty and privacy. So here we are talking about the rights of liberty and rights of privacy, and it is including, it is entering into the sphere, or it is against the freedom of to choose for marriage, which is as per the publication which is making it mandatory. It is that there is interference from the state and non-state actors, and that is what the Allahabad High Court has said in its significant judgment, that the publication of notice which is mandatory would invade the fundamental rights of liberty and privacy, and it is against the freedom of or to choose for marriage. And this bench has also, that is the Allahabad High Court bench, has also mandated that while giving notice, that means publication of notice, so any individual who is part of the intended marriage should or give notice under section 5. So we would look at section 5, section 6 and section 7. So this could be the keywords which you need to focus, that under section 5 it is mandated to give publication of notice under section 5, and now it says that wherein earlier under section 5 it was mandatory to give the publication notice, but it says that now it shall be optional. It shall be optional for the parties who are in part of the intended marriage, and in writing they shall make a request in writing to the marriage or publish or not to publish under section 6. So what does the section 6 says? That is, you are giving in writing about your intended marriage to the marriage officer. To publish or not to publish is as per the section 6, and to follow the procedure of objections as prescribed under the act, that is in regards to the Marriage or Special Marriage Act 1954. So you have the section 5 and section 6 which talks about the giving notice or giving in writing to the marriage officer about the procedure of objections. And the court also has observed that the publication of notice under section 6 and inviting or entertaining any kind of procedure of objections under section 6 and 7 can only be read as a directory in nature, which would be given effect only on request of the parties of the intended marriage. So here very clearly the court talks about the section 6 and section 7 can be read only as directory in nature, which can be in effect only on request of the parties. And the court also is talking about the interpretation of the section 6 and section 7 of the Special Marriage Act can be read with section 46 of the act, and which is talking about, or which is section 46 is about the procedure of publication of notice and inviting the procedure of objections to the intended marriage in the act of Special Marriage Act 1954. And it says that this 46 upholds the fundamental rights, and that would uphold the fundamental right, and it would not violate the fundamental rights of privacy and to choose the individuals for marriage. So here this section 5, section 6, section 7 and section 46 of the Special Marriage Act 1954 has to be taken into consideration, and the freedom of rights of liberty and privacy and freedom to choose for marriage and the procedure of objections or inviting or entertaining objections are the keywords which you need to focus, which the Allahabad High Court has ruled that as per the Special Marriage Act 1954, it is not mandatory and it shall be optional. And the another news which we will be talking about is about the Tejas fighters. So the Cabinet Committee on Security, that is CCS, has approved the manufacture of 83 Tejas, that is light combat aircraft, by the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, that is HAL, which will be provided for the Indian Air Force at a cost of 47,000 crore. And this is the biggest indigenous defense deal. And the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has also tweeted that this biggest indigenous defense deal of 83 Tejas manufacturing, which has been approved by the Cabinet Committee on Security, would be a game changer for self-reliance, that is for the Atmanirbhar Bharat in the Indian defense manufacturing. So here we have the keyword and the key phrases which are crucial for you to be made as a part of your short notes. That is, the indigenous or biggest indigenous defense deal would be a game changer for self-reliance, that is for the Atmanirbhar Bharat in the Indian defense manufacturing. And the indigenous content of the light combat aircraft of Tejas, which is of 50%, and this is in the new variant, that is Mk1A. This is a new variant, it's called as Mk1A, and this would have an enhanced 60% once the entire approval will be done, and there would be 40 modification to the Mk1 variant over Mk1 variant. The new one will be Mk1A variant, and rather than Mk1 variant, to the new or to the enhanced one, that is Mk1A variant, there would be 40 modification, and this 40 modification would be ones, for example, like major ones are electronic warfare system would be included or modified, and advanced electronically scanned era or array, that is AESA radar, and beyond visual range, that is BVR missiles would also be included as a modification, and a network warfare system which comprises SDR, that is software design or defined radio. So these are the major modifications which would be over Mk1 variant to the new enhanced one, that is Mk1A. And when we look at the Afghanistan, which has raised the delay of India's acceptance of envoy. So here it was more than 3 months after Afghanistan has announced its ambassador to India, but still New Delhi has not yet granted its agreement or acceptance to the Afghan government's nominee, that is ambassador to India. And the sources from Afghan Foreign Minister, that is Anif Atmar, has also said that they have discussed the issue, that is why the Indian government is or not yet given the acceptance or agreement for the Afghan government's nominee, that is the ambassador to India, with the National Security Advisor, that is Mr. Ajit Doval, and also to the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. And in turn, after the discussion by the Afghan Foreign Minister Hanif Atmar, Indian side have assured that Indian government would issue or would certainly resolve the issue very shortly. That is acceptance or agreeing the ambassador to India, part of the Afghan government's nominee, that is the envoy, Afghanistan envoy to India. And if you look at, Afghanistan has not had a full rank ambassador in India since 2018. So full rank ambassador is not present from Afghanistan in India since September 2018, when then Afghanistan ambassador to India, that is Shahida Abdali, has resigned because he would wish to stand for elections in Afghanistan. And while this issue was being taken up, and when the Ministry of External officials have been contacted, the Ministry of External Affairs officials have said that there were various reasons why the ambassador to Delhi from Afghanistan nominee has not been accepted, or there was a delay, because there was initial delay from the Ashraf government, and there was elections in Afghanistan, and there was coronavirus pandemic, and because of the Doha peace process, all these have been part of the delay, which have been part of the number of reasons why the Ministry of External Affairs ministers or officials have made a point that the reasons are why not appointing the full term or full rank ambassador of Afghanistan in Delhi. And the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval has also held talks on January 13, 2021 with the Afghanistan leadership, that is in regards to the security scenario in Afghanistan. And this security scenario in Afghanistan was discussed by the National Security Advisor by the Afghan leadership just ahead of the arrival of the Joe Biden and Chris Harris administration in Washington. That is the kind of the scenario, the changes which are taking up in USA. And then linking it with the security scenario, the National Security Advisor of India, Ajit Doval, has held discussions with the Afghan leadership in regards to the security scenario in Afghanistan. So there is certainly a link of the administration or the new administration which is coming up in USA, and linking it with the security scenario in Afghanistan, and discussing with the Afghan leadership. And both sides have discussed cooperation in countering terrorism and strengthening a regional consensus, especially in regards to the Afghan peace process. So India is also certainly playing a role in the Afghan reconciliation peace process. And certainly Ajit Doval has held talks in regards to the security scenario in Afghanistan and discussed the cooperation in countering terrorism and strengthening a regional consensus. So these are the keywords: countering terrorism and strengthening a regional consensus on Afghanistan peace process or Afghanistan reconciliation peace process, wherein India is taking initiative actively to be part of the Afghanistan peace process. And we would also look at the RBI forming a working group on digital lending. So this is a keyword, forming a working group on digital lending. And RBI has constituted a working group on digital lending, which would include online platforms and mobile apps. So the digital lending, constituting a working group on digital lending, includes online platforms and mobile apps. And RBI has constituted the working group because to study all the aspects of the digital lending activities, especially in the regulated financial sector and as well as unregulated players. So here the keywords what we need to focus, the importance of RBI constituting a working group on digital lending is to study the aspects of the digital lending activities in the regulated financial sector as well as by unregulated players. And this constituting a working group will ensure an appropriate regulatory approach which will certainly put in place and will have a regulated financial sector and have an access onto the unregulated players. So the importance of the RBI constituting the working group on digital lending would be a crucial information for prelims as well as mains examination. And digital lending has, now we are focusing on the importance of digital lending, the potential of digital lending in India, why RBI has constituted a working group on the digital lending. So digital lending has a potential to make access to the financial products and services, so that the access to the financial products and services would be more fair, would be efficient, and would be inclusive. So the need of the access to the financial products and services to be fair, efficient, and inclusive is the potential of digital lending, and that is why RBI has constituted the working group on digital lending. And fintech led innovation is now at the core of designing, pricing, and delivering of the financial products and services, which has the potential, which is part of the digital lending. And who is the one who is the core of the design, pricing, and delivery? It is fintech led innovation. And RBI has also come up with a balanced approach which needs to be followed. Why? Because the regulatory frameworks supports this digital lending, or the working group would be acting as a regulatory framework supports for innovation. And the regulatory framework would also ensure data security, would ensure privacy, would ensure confidentiality, and also would ensure consumer protection. So the balanced approach of constituting a working group on digital lending, so that it would provide a regulatory framework, and this regulatory framework would support innovation, and the regulatory framework would also ensure data security, would ensure privacy, would ensure confidentiality, and consumer protection. And this is the balanced approach and the necessity for the constituting the working group by RBI. And the working group consists of the internal and external members, and the working group will evaluate, as we discussed, the digital lending activities, and the working group will have access to the penetration and standards of outsourced digital lending activities in RBI regulated entities, and it will also have access to identify the risk posed by unregulated digital lending to financial stability, to regulated entities, and to consumers. And the working group will also have access to suggest regulatory changes, so that it would promote orderly growth of digital lending. And it will also have access, that is, the working group will have access to the recommendations for expansion of specific regulatory or statutory parameter or perimeter, and suggest the role of various regulatory and government agencies. And it will also recommend a robust fair practices code for digital lending players. So the importance of the working group, who would be part of it? It constitutes internal and external members, and it will evaluate the digital lending activities and have access to all the 5 points which are the importance of constituting working group. So this is important for the mains as part of your short notes for the mains examination. That is the importance or the potential of the working group and the potential of digital lending, and how the working group will evaluate digital lending activities and have access to the penetration and standards, identifying the risk, suggesting regulatory changes, and recommend measures for expansion of specific regulatory, and also will suggest the role of various regulatory and government agencies, and will recommend a robust fair practices code for digital lending players, and this working group constituted by RBI will submit its reports within 3 months, and the RBI would certainly look into the potential of digital lending, which would include online platform and mobile apps. And this is the very crucial information as part of the analysis of the Hindu newspaper in regards to the economy, how the RBI is now constituted the working group on the keyword. What we are focusing is digital lending. And now we will look at the recapitulate of the DNA. So we have looked at the importance of reopening of the Anganwadi, that is in regards to the National Food Security Act 2013. We have looked at this is in regards to the welfare schemes and the nutritional values provided to the children's, pregnant women and to the lactating mothers. And this is as per the Allahabad High Court, which says that the publication of notice of marriage is not mandatory but it is optional as per section 6. Section 5 we have looked at, section 6, section 7 and section 46. So we have looked at section 5, 6, 7 and 46 of Special Marriage Act 1957. And CCS has approved the 83 Tejas fighters, that is in regards to the which the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has said that it is a game changer for self-reliance, that is for the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. And this is as per the international relations. We have looked at how both the countries, how India is certainly looking into the security concerns in Afghanistan and being part of the Afghanistan peace process, that is Afghanistan reconciliation peace process. India is certainly having its importance or role in the Afghanistan peace, and also looking at the changes or the happenings in the Joe Biden and Chris Harris administration in US, and how India would move forward in having the peace process in the heart of Asia, that is in Afghanistan. So it is as per the international relations we have focused. And as per the economy, we have looked at how RBI has constituted the working group on digital lending. We have looked at the potential of digital lending, which the mobile apps would be part of the digital lending also. So I hope this session was an informative, knowledgeable, and also we are focused from mains and prelims perspective of UPSC. So I would say a very big thank you to all and a good luck. And then do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, take care of your physical health and mental health, and do not forget to like the video, share the video and subscribe the AKS IAS Academy English medium YouTube channel, and also have access to the website, and then sign in to the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy, that is Advanced Knowledge System. And then see you tomorrow for the daily news analysis. Till then, thank you and goodbye.